Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Actually, this is my last one. I will retire in a few weeks, but I hope you will enjoy this one that was supposed to be held at the SAE World Congress in Detroit this year. This webinar is about diagnostic communication with zero emission vehicles, ZEV or ZEV. Americans, they name it ZEV, and I name it ZEV. Before we start with the content, the technical details, I would like to answer the question, who is Peter P. Subke, P for Pitt? I am Manager Business Development of North America at Softing Automotive Electronics, hold an academic degree in electrical engineering from the Technical University of Dortmund in Germany. I am involved in CAM-based hard and software for road vehicles and non-road mobile machinery since 1986. So I know the CAN bus, each bit and byte. I am an active member of several SAE committees and task forces. SAE International is meant. I publish technical papers, articles, and books. You can find them at the given profiles at SAE Bookstore. And I published a new book for those of you who speak German and understand German. The new book was published 4 weeks ago in German, and it's named Fahrzeugdiagnose. So far for me, what is the presentation today? I start with an introduction. That's what I always do. What are we talking about? Then I will introduce you to the OSI model of communication. Then, as the title says, Unified Diagnostic Services is a topic, as well as the new protocols J1979-2 and -3. We will step over to what is diagnostics over IP, and I will give you a short example on how to read the VIN with UDSonIP from a zero emission vehicle. Last but not least, we will show you a very high-tech overview of how does diagnostic communication and diagnostic test equipment look like in the future. That is then here named as a demo that will be done by my colleague Olivier. Let's start. What are we talking about? I love to build, restore, and ride vintage motorcycles. And this, what you see here, is a model year 1974. The thing is that I know the EE system because I did it by myself. And for that reason, I'm sure, and I know that the diagnostic system on the EE system of such a vehicle is based on smoke. And you can also see on the right-hand side, there's replacement wire harness smoke available from Lucas, who is an English supplier of spare parts. So 50 years ago, we had smoke-based diagnostics. The electrical system of a vintage motorcycle is based on smoke because in production, smoke is pumped into the copper wires. If an electrical failure occurs, for example, a short circuit, the smoke comes out, and then the brothers know where to look at. That is smoke-based diagnostic 50 years ago. Last minute changes. There is a typo. Marion, please get back to me with the typo for that we can then do a correction. Today we have tool-based diagnostics. If it is smoke-based or tool-based diagnostic depends on the technology of the EE system. Okay, 15 years ago, only cables and wires and connectors is different. But today with the implementation of control units, we got onboard diagnostics, we got self-diagnosis systems, we got tool-based off-board diagnostics. That's what we have today. But in future, this tool-based diagnostics will include diagnostic communication with the OBD system that then supervises the safety of automated zero-emission vehicles. A lot of new buzzwords. OBD, onboard diagnostics, is a system that supervises the emission control system of a vehicle. And in future, with the ZEV, zero-emission vehicles, we do not have any emissions. So what we then need is an OBD system that supervises the safety of such an zero-emission vehicle. And we will get new protocols, hopefully worldwide harmonized protocols. UDS is one, and there are two lower layer protocols. That is, one is DO-CAN, diagnostics on CAN, and the other one DoIP, diagnostics over IP, diagnostics on IP. Diagnostic communication, what does that mean? For the purpose of diagnostics, the tester, TST, sends diagnostic service requests to the vehicle and receives diagnostic service responses from the vehicle. Those requests and responses are specified in diagnostic communication protocols, for example, J1979, that's OBD, UDS, Unified Diagnostic Services on CAN or on IP, and the brand new one, ZEV on UDS, Zero Emission Vehicle on UDS. Keep in mind requests and responses. The AE system of such a zero emission vehicle consists of propulsion system, that's the powertrain, batteries, electronic control units and gateways, but also of sensors, actuators, bus systems, IVN, in-vehicle network, wiring, and connectors. So that is the system we talk to if we connect the diagnostic tester. In fact, in a specific point in time, we only talk to one control unit that gets a request and answers with a response. The requests and responses and the already mentioned DoIP and DO-CAN have to be specified, and they are specified in an OSI model and a protocol stack. The OSI model standardizes the diagnostic communication on 7 OSI layers. There's an application layer, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical layer. That's an important thing because all these layers contain protocols. On the application layer, we have the UDS, Unified Diagnostic Services, and the SAE J1979. You know them as OBD modes, or the -X, -2, and -3, the new protocols. Here, you will find the requests, positive and negative responses, and the service identifiers. On the data link and physical layer, you can see the specification of CAN and Ethernet, cables, signals, diagnostic link connect, and so on, and how to transport a UDS request on CAN or a UDS request on Ethernet needs a transport protocol. That's why it's named transport protocol, how to transport this message on the data link layer and the physical layer. And these transport protocols are specified here, ISO 15765, diagnostics on CAN, and 13400, diagnostics on IP. That's what the transport protocol is about. So coming to the ISO 14229 UDS, the newest version comes with the definition of 26 application layer services. I will not walk through all of them, but for example, we do have in ECU reset, we can read DTCs, we can start and stop routines, we can do flash download that is compared to the OBD protocol that's new, but you also can do extended diagnostic communication, such as flash download. The services here are either parameterized by a data identifier, so we do not really have the PIDs that you might know from the past, parameter identifier, but we get now data identifier, DIDs, but also some services are then parameterized by a sub-function byte. For example, the ECU reset here, the 11 service, then needs a sub-function byte that says, what kind of reset do you require? Is it a hard reset or soft reset or power on reset and all that's all the services that are marked with a little dot here are parameterized by at least a sub-function byte. Okay, now we get into the new versions, 79-2 and -3, not that new. They have been published in 22, but for decades, the OBD modes, as they are specified in J1979, served for the protection of our environment against harmful pollutants, but due to regulatory adoption of Unified Diagnostic Services, the regular adoption here means the California Air Resources Board, CARB, the J1979 has now become a multiple part document series. besides the J1979, which will become obsolete, we will get the 79-2 for vehicles with combustion engines, and a new one, the -3 for zero-emission vehicles propulsion system, the powertrain of zero-emission vehicles. So that's the new story. We get new protocols, 79-2 and 79-3, and the most important part of it is that those protocols are subsets of Unified Diagnostic Services. Here is the -3 named ZEVonUDS, has been published in December 22, is available in the bookstore of SAE bookstore, and is titled EE Diagnostic Test Modes. That's like the J1979 has been titled, and the new undertitle is Zero Emission Vehicle Propulsion Systems on UDS, ZEVonUDS, if you like it or not. I don't. However, that's the title. What do they mean by ZEV? Examples of ZEV covers traction drive motors and their inverters. That's what I name the powertrain of an EE, of a ZEV, of an electrical driven car. Energy storage systems are also included. High voltage charging systems, including the components whose failures impact the recuperation, that is loading of the battery during operation. And also included in ZEV are thermal control systems supporting the propulsion, such as battery cooling pumps and sensors. So that's all the ZEV. It's not only the powertrain of the electrical vehicle, but also other systems included in the communication path. So what are the services? I said that ZEVonUDS is a subset of the 26 Unified Diagnostic Services. What you can see here is the subset is 4 services. We have the 14, clear diagnostic information, the 19, read DTC information. We have the 22, read data by identifier, and we have 31, routine control. Those 4 services replace the formerly known J1979 OBD modes. And whatever you can do with the OBD modes, you can do with these 4 ZEVonUDS services. In the past, we remember that vehicles with OBD system come with an OBD connector. The specification of this connector is J1962, and of course, this also has to be replaced because the 1962 does not contain any communication over IP. So this 62 will be replaced by an ISO standard, and that is ISO 13400 Part 4. Has been published 2016. You can see the layout of one version of this OBD connector, how it looks like in future. It's the same connector as you know. The CAN signals it's on the same pins as they have been before, but we get a new Ethernet pins, 4 of them. So that is a 4-wire Ethernet, including another one that's Ethernet activation. And this is specified in ISO 13400-4 diagnostic communication over Internet Protocol, Part 4, Ethernet-based high-speed data link connector. That is a new connector that comes with the new J1979-2 and -3. -3, because -2 does not allow diagnostics over IP, but the communication with ZEV allows diagnostics over IP and Ethernet. That means that zero-emission vehicles, such as the Rivian pickup here, requires an OBD connector. Each ZEV that needs type approval in the future, in the next 3-4 years, has to support J1979-3 and therefore needs such an OBD connector. Coming to an example. So what is the VIN and how do we read the VIN? This is a picture of my Audi, and you can see the windshield here. And I simply checked, okay, this is a little sign of the VIN. In this case, the VIN starts with W, A, U, Z, 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 and so on. So that is the VIN. In this case, I can read the VIN by using a camera, and now I can read the VIN. Now, the story behind is that we would like to read the VIN by using a tool-based diagnostics. And the J1979, the OBD modes, they came with a service to read the VIN. This service was service number 9 or mode 9, request vehicle information. And this has to be parameterized by the PID 2. So sending, if the tester sends service 9 with the parameter 2, you can see it here, 0902, in a CAN message using J1979 OBD, then the answer will be the VIN. And the answer is here. 49 is the answer to the 0902 means okay. The following will be the VIN, and this number that is coming then and needs 3 more CAN messages to be submitted contains the VIN, meaning that the request to read the VIN with the old protocol, the J1979, needs only 2 bytes. 09 and 02, 2 bytes, that's all. How about reading the same VIN with diagnostics over IP? Diagnostics over IP means that the vehicle comes with a DoIP gateway, and that is connected to this already mentioned 13400-4 data link connector, the new one. And the data link connector then comes with 4-wire Ethernet. This 4-wire Ethernet is named 100 base TX. TX for 4-wire, 100 is for 100 megabit per second. Compared to that, the high-speed CAN is 1 megabit on unshielded twisted pair. So we have 2 wires, 1 megabit on high-speed CAN, or 4 wires and 100 megabit on the Ethernet channel. That's much faster. That is the connection between the tester and the ZEV to read the vehicle, to read the VIN using diagnostics over IP. What you see next is that, as I said, that the vehicle come with, even the ZEVs come with this OBD connector. But if it's all about Ethernet, I do not need the VCI or vehicle communication interface in between. What I can do is I can simply connect this vehicle to the RJ45 plug, Ethernet plug of my PC. That's not true in all cases, but in many cases, for example, in this case, it has been a Rivian electrical vehicle. We can simply use this cable to connect the car, to connect the vehicle with external test equipment. As I mentioned before, we can send a CAN message, and you know about the CAN message. Is the data length code. It's the first byte, and then 2 bytes are needed and necessary to send the request. To do the same on Ethernet, we need to fill in the Ethernet packet. And this is even longer. It comes with Ethernet header, the IP4 address, the TCP header, and then we have the DoIP message here and the DoIP payload that finally contains the content and the request. If you would like to read and check out what's going on the Ethernet, we need this we need a tool that is named, for example, Wireshark, and is connected via a hub and a switch, meaning that I do not only have this tester directly connected to the DLC of the vehicle, I also have a hub and a switch with a mirror mode, and then I connect the Wireshark tracer, and I can see what the communication is about. And in this case, the UDS request is a 22, that is read data by identifier, and the DID for the VIN is F190. So I have to send a 22 F190 to the vehicle to get the VIN out of the vehicle. but that is independent of if it's sent over CAN or sent over Ethernet. Because you may remember that is the OSI model application layer. It's not, it is independent of the data link and the physical layer. Okay, what do we see if we do that and connect it here and start the Wireshark tracer? What we see is the communication between the vehicle and the test equipment using UDSonIP. I do not dig deeper into this one here, but there is a solution that can simply get into this hex dump and try to explain what we see here. And the DID F190 must be somewhere in here. And also the service identifier, the 22 must be in here. And if you look at the drawing, you see 22 F190 is here. And all the other bytes, if they are great or not, they have to be sent, and all the other bytes are part of the communication and necessary. That's overhead. That is the DoIP or Ethernet overhead. So I also do not dig into the details here now, but if you would like to get information about what is the 08 and 00 mean here, or what does this 80 mean, and so on, I recommend that you go to the SAE bookstore or SAE store and check out this SAE paper. The paper is has been published in April. So the content is 10 pages on diagnostic communication with zero emission vehicles using 14229 UDSonIP and SAE J1979-3. There you will get a detailed explanation and description of what I summarized in this presentation. And just to mention, Lindsay Heinemann from Rivian Automotive is the co-author here. She submitted very important parts of this analysis. What do we see here? And the content is mainly, content of this chapter is mainly written by her. So far for that. Okay, I'm on time. We can start with the demo. The demo is about what is the future of diagnostic communication besides the new protocols and besides the electrical connected ZEVs. That's everything is new. Buzzwords are guided fault finding. What about artificial intelligence? How do we support augmented reality, this goggles in the future, and all these topics are today part of Softing's strategy for the future of diagnostics. And a part of it that I really like is this demo that's just a short video that shows what diagnostics can do in the future. This will be presented by my colleague Olivier Socha. He is actually product manager at Softing Automotive Electronics. He comes with a master's degree in international logistics and a bachelor in foreign trade. And in the past, he worked for companies like BMW and Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, and Porsche, mainly in the marketing field. Okay, so I start the video and Olivier is already online. Olivier, the stage is yours and the video is here.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, everyone. What we see here is a video of a combustion engine. What we can say that's the future of vehicle diagnostics. So in the future, we can see in like a 3D system all failures and malfunctions of the engine of the complete car. Showing a detailed breakdown of parts and DTCs. As you can see here, we have an engine. Also, we are showing a combustion engine, but it doesn't matter if it's an electric or it's a combustion engine. Both we can show. Yes, and as Peter said, the future of mechanic is that in the workshop we'll use VR glasses to locate faults or the causes of vehicle malfunction. Also in the future, we can also consider that AI will also help the workshop managers to locate any DTCs, right? So this video is made by us, and also, as I said, the interesting interesting future of the vehicle diagnostics.
May I step into that, Olivier? I don't know if video got stuck on your side as well, but it is on my side. Okay, now I go ahead with it.
Exactly. As I said, we have the combustion engine. Here we have the complete. It's a motorcycle from Softing model. We can see all the parts they are located in the motorcycle in the 3D video. So the workshop manager can also, and the people that are learning in the workshop, they can faster relocate the problem or the part they are using.
Good. As I said, it's just a short introduction on how future diagnostics may look like. And what we now will get into the end of our show. Any questions, use the chat. You can do so by using the chat of the Teams meeting, or you can simply send us an email. Now we expect your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a first question for Barnaby Donu. What is the relative adoption of DoIP versus CAN by the manufacturers? Peter, maybe you can help me here out. Could be, Peter, that you are muted.
The relative adoption of DoIP versus CAN. Yeah, we talk about DoIP on the DLC, meaning that this is the diagnostic entry point to the vehicle. And what I see, we have the discussion in the past because CAN is not only high-speed CAN as we had it in the past. CAN is CAN CC. It's named that way as the old school CAN, 1 megabit per second. But the other one is the CAN FD. And the third one is CAN XL. So there is a discussion if CAN XL, the newest version, which is much faster, can be used on the diagnostic link connector. What I see regarding the adoption is that we will stay with diagnostics over IP on the diagnostic link connector because of the speed and its power. And we will get CAN XL in the vehicle, meaning that the IVN, the in-vehicle communication network, will be CAN. And the architecture is about HPCs, high-performance computers. They are connected over Ethernet. That's a two-wire Ethernet. It's as a backbone. And then they talk to the other control units using CAN XL. And one of the HPCs comes with an Ethernet, the DoIP connection to the diagnostic test equipment. That is the future. That is a system that I see in the future. Barnaby, my pleasure, Barnaby, always. Just as an example, I have an Audi that is 5 years old, and even that Audi comes with DoIP on the diagnostic link connector. So it's not that new. But the future technology will be diagnostics over IP. But there is something to consider. The thing is that the J1979-2 does not allow DoIP. It only allows DoICAN because this is the direct replacement of the OBD J1979 protocol, meaning that we will get the DoIP only for electrical vehicles. It is all about CARB and SAE, yes, and I don't know how the EU and the Europeans and the German car makers will follow that and get new rules. For example, I think they will get new rules. How about remote diagnostics in the future? Do we have to use the J1979 or have to communicate on other protocols? Okay, the thing is as follows. Only one protocol for OBD, for the communication with the OBD system, is allowed. It is either J1979-2 or -3. Even if it's remote or not, does not mention, does not consider if it's wired or wireless, remote or direct, doesn't care. That's not the thing. According to US CARB regulations, we can only use, yes, that is correct. No, you cannot use both protocols. What you can do is you can use another diagnostic system, enhanced diagnostic system in your vehicle that is then based on UDS, because, for example, this J1979-2 and -3 do not contain the services that you need to do flashing. There are some services that are only for extended diagnostics and not for OBD. OBD in a zero emission vehicle, there are no emissions. But the thing is that then the OBD system and the functionality of the OBD systems is not about emissions, but it's about safety systems. I'd like to know if services 14, 19, 22, 31 need to be always accessible. Oh yeah, that Leon, I don't know, but I will find out. I exactly understand what you're talking about. You talk about the default session, and there are services in the default session according to UDS protocol that are available after power on of the control unit. And I think that these 4 services have to be available in the default session of the OBD system. I think, but I will find out. Authorization means, okay, security access. You have to, you may have the service number 10, which is not part of the specification here, and 10 is to switch the session, and then you can start switch the session to extended diagnostic session, for example, using diagnostic session control service 10, and then you can lock that by an authorization like the security access. That is the normal way to do. But this is a very interesting question. What about OBD? What about the CARB requirements? Please, Leon, send me an email and I will get your answer. I know who the one is to talk to at CARB or other experts who know the answer. Okay, more questions? It will give you another 2 minutes. Yep. That is regarding clarify if only the UDS service 14, 19, 22, 31 are available. That's true. What if we send a session, open of session, so a session control number 10 request on ZEV? That's not the part of the OBD system. I mean, that's not part of the legal requirements. The 10 is not part of this. So, and that's why I think that the services then 14, 19, 22, and 31 have to be available in the default session. But I will check out that, as I said before. Good. One last question about Service 29 authentication. We cannot have OBD. Yeah. Actually, no. It looks like something like we have what we have within the regular SAE J1979. These services, these modes must be available whenever the car is powered, and if a vehicle is on and engine is on and the car is driving on the road, vehicle speed is not zero, and all these services, because you have to read the OBD data out of the vehicle even if the car is on the track on the road. So the same is here. That would mean that these 4 services must be available whenever you switch the ignition on. But as I said before, that's not secure, and I will check out if it comes with security access or if we need authentication. Thank you. And here again, Rakshit Bukandarao, please send me an email with this question, okay? Okay. Hey, I like that. I really like this kind of discussion. And I had that in the past very, very often. I'm in this business for 24 years. But the sad thing is that I will retire in a few weeks, and I will never have this kind of discussions anymore. I do have some replacement fun, like riding motorcycles and working on vintage motorcycles and so on. But if that is the same, I don't know. Thoughts on adoption of SOVD? Yeah, but it's nothing that has that CARB has considered. SOVD is a little late because the CARB new services, they have been developed about 4 or 5 years ago. SOVD is kind of new. That means there is kind of a diagnostic system installed in the vehicle. The HPC, the high performance computers, for example, they can then contain a diagnostic server, such as the smart diagnostic engine made by Softing or so on, and then they will answer directly without any test equipment involved, directly talk to a test equipment that is probably based on the cloud. Has nothing to do with the services that are available. So I think that, we will see an extension of the OBD requirements, for example, especially for the ZEVs, because new safety systems and new important systems that have to be supervised by the OBD systems and that are, for example, necessary for securing the car and the vehicle against external cyber attacks and all that stuff that is not considered yet. We will see that. And then we will have an extension of the SOVD and the services. Regarding the demo presented, how do you do the mapping between the... I don't know. Olivier, do you know the answer?
Well, it depends, because actually it's only a demo, so it's showing that we are, if a customer wants a diagnostic tester that has a 3D model, he needs to, when something will do the diagnostic tester, he will need to send us completely the data. That we are showing, that's only a, how do you say, an example, right? So yeah, this comes actually, if it's done, that comes from the customer.
Okay, here again, Christiana, please send it as an email. I think there you need more information on that. I don't know the mapping, but we will find out. Okay, good. Yeah, that's cool. And as I said before, I will really miss these discussions. But however, I will stay in the business. I will create another book that's on automotive cybersecurity, and that will be published by the end of this year. And maybe that we will get new conferences and new webinars and so on, even if I'm not paid by Softing to do that. I really love what I do. So, of course, I will miss you guys and miss the discussion, but maybe that we will meet each other again sooner or later. Okie doke.
What I can also say, if you're more interested in softening products, you can add your email to the newsletter on the website. So you will be in touch with all interesting information for you, or also webinars, or also events and products.
Yep, you still might see our email addresses. In this case, the Olivier address is the more important one. Send him an email and he will make sure that you will get an answer and get information. Okay. Yeah. If there are no more questions, then I would like to hand over to either Toby or Marion. Would you like to say something? Last sentences. If not, then we will shut down this Teams meeting. And again, I say thank you all for your participation, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks.
Thank you.